I just did.
And welcome to today's show. Announcement was made at 12 o'clock that there's a new NPF team in Houston, Texas, the Woodlands to be precise, called the Scrapyard Dawgs. So what do? We go straight right away, get Kevin Shelton, the GM from the Scrapyard Dawgs, to come on so we can ask him some questions, and so can you. So, Kevin, thank you for taking the time out. I'm sure it's a busy day wherever you are with the announcement being made. Thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's always fun to talk about softball.
It's always fun to time. We've been talking softball together since those kids were really small.
That's right. It's been a long time since the kids were 12 and under in club ball, but it's been fun the whole time, and it's a great opportunity to continue to grow the game.
Yes, and you've done a great job with the Dallas Charge this year. Now we're talking a new team, Woodlands, Texas, and people who aren't familiar with the Woodlands, that's right north of Houston. It's a great area. It's right north of Houston. It's before you get to Houston.
Yeah, that's right. Just south of Conroe.
Yeah. And the newest team starts play next year, and that's the Scrapyard Dawgs, and you are playing at the Scrapyard. That's your home field.
That's right. Scrapyard Sports Complex is where we'll play, and there's we're working on a stadium there, so that's very exciting. So we should have a new team with a new home, and it should be state of the art and be very unique. The folks there, got to give a lot of credit to the Scrapyard Sports Complex and the folks running that place. They're very forward thinking. They create just really unique designs that are extremely utilitarian and well suited for the sport, as well as have some ability to be flexible and to deal with the weather conditions well. So it's just really exciting to have a lot of great help working on making the team a success.
Well, now this didn't happen overnight, because you can't get an MP franchise that quick. It takes a little bit of work going on. So when did y'all start working on this team? Because this is the second team that you are the general manager of. When did work on this start?
I would have to say that we actually started discussions on it, right after we felt like we had the Charge mostly under control and such that we were going to be able to get a team on the field and I wasn't scrambling around. So we began the discussion probably the first time with the league in April. But to be fair, the owner had cleared the way for this idea when he established the idea for the first team. So you're right that we've probably been working on the actual paperwork and things right after the season ended here in 2015. But before that, there was a lot of energy and thought and activity around, okay, if we're going to do this, how we're going to do it, where are we going to do it, how does it make sense, what's things we need to get in place, what's the timeline, all those kinds of things. So we've been probably working on it almost since the day we kind of announced the Charge. We've been working on developing this idea to make sure that it was a good one and ready to go for the 2016 season.
Well, I think this is great. Texas has two teams, the first state to have two teams, but we're the biggest state, right? I don't care what they say, so we deserve two teams if anyone does. Now, is it still the word like mom on who the owner is? Is that common knowledge, or?
That's probably common knowledge, but he doesn't like to talk about himself a lot. He's a humble guy and he doesn't want the spotlight.
But then I'll leave it at that. Leave it at that.
Sure.
I didn't know where we stood on that. So have we got any thoughts, or do you have any thoughts on, you're going to be the GM for both teams?
Yes, sir.
And I know that's a question you and I both said this people are going to ask. So let's go ahead and address that. How are you going to GM two teams?
Again, I ask, when people ask me that all the time, and it's a very good question. It's a fair question. And my response is usually the same. It kind of get this quizzical look on my face. And I say, well, put yourself in my shoes. If you were going to manage two franchises, wouldn't you work really hard to make sure they were both great? We need credibility for the teams, credibility for the league, credibility for the ownership group. Can't afford any funny business. And if I own multiple McDonald's or multiple Subways or, any kind of franchise, I would want all those franchises to be great. So our focus is making them all great. I think that what we're doing by going 1 year at a time, one after the others, the Dallas Charge is well established. We have a roster. We'll probably bring back the majority of that team. So there's not a lot of holes to fill. So besides focusing on filling those holes, re-signing players, extending them, and filling any holes that we do have, well, then our focus is around, finding new players who either are looking to, find a new team or have been out in the world and want to play again, and the draft, which will be the draft will be where we get the majority of our players. The Charge team, even though we had players who weren't just seniors out of college, were essentially rookies. We've had very few players who played more than 1 year in the league. So, it can be done and it can be successful. It's a challenge, but it's a fun one.
Do you have any plans yet on who you're going to name as head coach? And if you do, can you tell us?
Yes and no.
Okay, well, that's what I thought the answer might be. That's why I broke that up into two.
Yeah, so we have some ideas. We're not ready to talk about it yet, but there's always activity happening.
So here's my question. Is it possible that the Dawgs, I'm just going to call them the Dawgs for this conversation.
That's great.
And the Charge both end up in the final game of the championship?
Well, of course it is possible, and that is our goal. Certainly what our focus is.
And so how would you work that being the general manager?
Oh, that'd be great. We win, right? So,
yeah, you win either way. I mean,
right. So if we were both in the championship game there, for me, it's, like I said, I can't be partisan one way or the other anyway. For me, both teams need to be great. Got to work as hard for both. There's lots of help in Houston. There's lots of help here in Dallas. It'd be a great problem to have, to both of us be sitting in the championship game. I think we're probably, more than a year away from that, but it would be great if that could work out.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. So does this also, though, I'm just kind of thinking of things here, give you like some more leverage over other teams where you could make trades if you wanted to with yourself, kind of? I mean, you could say, we're going into the finals. The Charge is like, I'm just using this as a scenario. It's like, man, they are cooking. They got a chance to win this. The Dawgs are doing okay, but it's a long shot. We're going to trade at the end of the season our super player to the Charge for that fight at the battle. I mean, does that sound crazy, or could something like that happen? Does that give you an advantage over other teams?
If we were to act like that, I guess it would give us an advantage. We don't intend to act like that. And the league also has final say on any trade. So if I was trying to do funny business, which I have no intention of doing, again, we want both teams to be great. And again, we need credibility for the league, credibility for the teams. Can't afford to have silly things happening. And then the stopgap for Kevin losing his mind is the commissioner, who can stop any crazy thing I might try to do between teams. So that doesn't, it's interesting. You kind of said leverage at the beginning. I don't think of trying to get leverage over things or people. That's just not how I operate. So
no, I don't think you do. I mean, I've never thought of you as that kind of person. I've faced you on the field before. You're not that kind of person. Yeah. You're a pretty straight shooter guy to me. I've always seen. Yeah. I'm just like I said, I'm just trying to think of scenarios.
That's people. That's what people think about. Hey, can you cook the books here? Can you, trade everyone at the end of the season to one team to try to load one team up? That doesn't make sense. It's not a good long-term play. It's not good for the league, not good short-term. The other owners wouldn't stand for it, and the commissioner won't either. And so we want, that should never come up.
Well, I do have to say, I like your logo. And for those who haven't seen it, it's in the comment bar right now. I think that's a great looking logo. I mean, it's got the state in there. It's got a mean looking scrapyard dog in there. There's no doubt what's going on with that. Right. But I like your Dallas Charge logo too. You guys have a great artist evidently doing this stuff. Is it you?
It's not me. I can take no credit for any of those things, but I will give the owner credit for the Scrapyard Dogs logo. I would suggest that is all his idea. That's it's all his idea. An artist finally made it, something that we all liked, but in the end it was, we went through a bunch of different iterations on the logo. We had different names that we went through as well. But in the original logo that we had was anywhere close to this one. So this is definitely the owner gets credit for getting us down this path. On the Dallas Charge logo, I would say that I would have to give credit to, little credit to Jamie Lowprize and the artist.
Now, is Jamie going to be involved with this team as she is with the Dallas Charge?
No, not really. Jamie's kind of taking a step back because she's working directly for the USSSA on other activities, specifically the USA Select and that kind of stuff. So she's not, she'll still help when we need help. I mean, she's a friend and someone who cares about the sport, and she has good connections. So if we need help, we always reach out to her, but she won't be involved very much in the day-to-day operation.
So you're pretty much the only person that has any crossover between the two.
the owner and, Laura will be consulted. Laura Villa, the assistant GM for the Charge, will also be consulted with the other teams, again, because she knows a lot of things, right? We've made a lot of mistakes in year one. We did a lot of things well in year one. And so to the extent that we can just export information that keeps us from making, any of the silly mistakes that we made this time, she'll be involved. But there is a crew in Houston who is ramping up specifically to manage and help run this team. Whitney Clower, who is the assistant GM in Houston, will obviously seek out information from Laura and lean on her, just like they will for me. But it's one big team. I consider it one big team. We have a bunch of shared resources that can help us all do a good job.
So when the day comes and the Dawgs hit the field and the Charge hits the same field, and you're sitting up there in the bleachers watching this, two teams that you run hit the field playing each other, how's that going to feel?
I've actually experienced that many times, Gary, because
with your Glory
with the Texas Glory, we've played each other many times. I've watched the 14s, two 14er teams, two 16s, two 18s, two 12er teams in championship games play each other. And I've learned that typically in those situations I disappear because it's a no-win scenario. But I've learned to sit on my hands and just enjoy the game. It's a movie. Just watch the movie and smile at everything goes well. And, reality is you hope everyone plays well. If everyone plays well, then everyone can be proud of the result. Whatever happens, happens. And, in the end, by the time they're on the field actually playing, I don't have any impact on the game whatsoever. So, each will react according to their gifts and their training, and the chips will fall where they may. And as long as we work hard, we can all be proud of the result.
Well, Kevin, you said you'd give me about 15 minutes. And I think we're pushing on that 15 minutes. We got 7 people watching out there in the audience, and no one's asked any questions. So this is a new technology. So there's not many people that know about this technology yet. So that's why the audience, but a lot of people will see it on the site, because we'll put this show on the site. I record it. We'll probably make a quick podcast out of it.
Right.
So I do want to thank you for coming in. Anything you want to make sure that maybe I didn't ask that you want to get out about the Dawgs?
Yes, I just again encourage our audience to support Pro Fastpitch, support Fastpitch at every level, continue to grow the sport, and give these ladies a great opportunity out of college, and let's grow the sport and make it one that's viable for many years to come.
Well, Kevin, I really appreciate you taking the time with me. You'll come back someday.
I'd come back
this audience
anytime you ask.
I appreciate it very much. You've always been a good guy to me. I appreciate it. Everybody watching, thanks for watching.